So when I build this, um, I'll be able to access this by using the um, prog ID of customer hours ep.sample ep. Okay. So let me jump back over here to Design Studio, and I think I don't have this thing named properly. Yeah. I just need to change the program ID there to be the one that we want. Okay. Now there's going to be one other thing that we're going to have to do to make this work. If you've ever done any debugging or working in a web environment, it's not always that easy, and you may know that if you're running in a web environment, it's going to run with the credentials of the web server. And so, what's the wrong one? So I'm going to go over to my configurator web, and I've already set this up, but I just wanted to show you guys that in order to make this work properly, the web server is going to try to create that object, and by default, the local iUser account is not going to have access to create that object. So you're going to get problems like the web cannot create the object. So sort of a tip that I usually do is I change the authentication or the security of the web server to be whoever I'm logged in as, and that way he'll have rights to be able to create that object. So if I did everything right, first of all, it'll be a miracle. I probably missed something. But if I did everything right, we'll see what happens here with our configuration. All right, well, we got something here. So let me put in a couple other values, and we'll see if our little guy's working. And there you go. Okay, so you can see that we have entered in some values, and the external program went ahead and concatenated those values together, and we returned the value. So we're going to create another one here, and we'll just create it within this same module. And one of the requests that we had is and one of the limitations that we had with the one that with this external program that we just created is we only returned one value. So we have an external program and we're passing all these parameters, but the only thing we're getting back is one value that we placed in the description variable, and that's really all we got. Is there a way that we can return multiple values? And in a way, yes, we can, and we'll run through that right now. So let me create a couple more rules here, and we'll show how that's going to work. So what I'm going to do is create a screen that's going to take the area, or the height and the width, and calculate the area and the circumference of those two things, and display them, and return both of those values to the configurator. So I'm going to create a new option variable here to display my area, and we'll make it a numeric value. And we'll create one more that's going to be circumference, and I'll just call it circ because I'm pretty sure I can't spell circumference. And we'll show these two guys in here as area and circumference. Okay, so I'll just say there and area there. Save this, and we'll just show you what it's going to look like before we plug in the external program. So we're just going to want to take the height and the width, and after we enter a value, we're going to want the area and the circumference to be calculated. Just to demonstrate how we can pass back multiple values from an external program. Okay, so let's take what we have so far, and we'll copy this to make it a little bit quicker. We'll put it in the same file. So down here, I'm going to make another class, and we're going to call this one area. We'll call it area circ. And all I did there was, and I'm going to give this a new GUID so that they don't collide. Okay, so I have all my framework set up for this external program. And in the execute, we're going to want to pass back multiple values. Okay, in order to do that, I need to set up the rule properly. So before I run this screen rule, I want to run my external program. So I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to give it a rule number that is before so it'll run before the screen rule. I need to register this new external program, which I haven't done yet, but I'll do that in a sec. I don't really care about the return value, so I'm going to just basically ignore that, put it into a local variable and ignore it. And then I'm going to add some parameters. So first I know I'm going to need my height, O-height, and I know I'm going to need my width. And I know that I want to change my area, and I know that I want to change my circumference. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the scope of these two to be read-write. And that's going to tell the configurator that says if they change the O-area variable or the O-circ variable, make that sort of stick, make that apply to the whole configuration and not just within the context of that external program. So it's basically going to allow me to set the value of O-area and O-circ. Okay. All right. A few more things we need to do before this is going to work. Let me first add a function for it. So I'm going to call it area circ, and this one's going to be customer hours ep dot area circ. Did I do that? I just had a fleeting. Whoops. Make sure I typed that right. Okay. And come back into my rule set and set the program name. So I think I missed them. I'm going to do those now. Area circ. Okay, so now I pretty much have my plumbing in place as far as rules is concerned, with one caveat that we'll cover in a sec. But we have the external program running, and then within this screen we're going to show the area and the circ that have been modified in no place other than in this external program. So let's write our external program. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, so we're going to say dim h as double equals parameters item height dot value, and then actually I need to convert this to a double because it's going to come in as a string. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy that line and do the same thing for width. Okay, and then I'm going to now what I want to do is I want to take that and I want to set it to the value of the area and the circumference. So in order to do this, I need to access not the parameters, but actually the session itself, because the variable that I want to change is actually within the config session. Okay, so I'm going to take this config session object, and this will actually show you some of the things we've got on here. We've got the active component, we've got all the components if you've got multiple components in your configuration. We've got global variables, we've got input parameters. So there's a lot here that you can access that has to do with your current configuration. But we just want the active components configuration variables. Okay? And we want to grab, we want to grab the area variable, and we want to set its value equal to height times width. Okay? And I want to do basically the same thing, so I'll copy that line, and I want to do circ is equal to 2 times height plus width, just like that. Okay? And remember, again, to repeat this point, we have to return a value. So we're going to say parameters dot result, and we're just going to say, we'll say success, because we got to return something. And we'll say that that's an alphanumeric value. And then we're going to say everything went great, so we're going to return true. Okay, so we've taken, and obviously, you know, this is pretty simple logic, but the concept is that we're able to set multiple values. So we can have any number of parameters that we want to put in our rule here,